Hi all, apologies. We thought we started about 2 minutes ago. I just got a message saying that we've just started the broadcast now. So if you did get to see the introduction, fantastic. If you are just joining us right now, I do apologise. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty at the start. My name is Beck Woolnough. I am the presenter for today. I've had 15 years in education. I am a digital pedagogical coach. I was a leading teacher with qualifications in Google, Apple, Microsoft, and I was a SMART certified educator. I was a Seesaw ambassador. And now I am an educational consultant with Smart Technologies. If you would like to connect with me after today, my email addresses are woolnough@smarttech.com. You can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is Beck_Woolnough, or we can connect via Twitter. All of our content, everything that we have, all of the activities that we're doing, live activities, lessons, tutorials, previews to free resources and activities are all on our Smart Technologies ANZ Facebook page. So please feel free to jump over there and follow that page for any updates. If you are just joining us and you did miss Kendall's lovely introduction, Kendall is our wonderful marketing leader here in ANZ, and she's actually moderating our webinar today. If you do have questions, we're going to take this hour nice and slow and go through as many platforms as we possibly can, answer your questions, and go through any sort of activities or ideas that you had. So this is your webinar today, so please feel free to send in as many questions as you would like, and we're going to answer them as we go through. I also would love it if you popped your hand up and came off mute and had a chat and asked me about things that you're doing in your class or would like to see how to do it now. So if you do have questions, either pop your hand up and Kendall will bring you off mute, or you can type your questions in the chat box and Kendall will flag with me that there's a question there to answer. So today, what we're going to do, our purpose and goal for today, is to showcase where to find mathematical resources to use in SLSO. So that's our cloud-based version of the software, and how you can deliver these resources in a blended approach, and how students can work either collaboratively or self-paced. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, or even here in Australia and New Zealand, you are going to be faced with a different scenario in each state or country. Some states like New South Wales have gone back today. Some are on a rostered system, some are going back full time. South Australia are already back, and they're of the view that if you have no reason to stay home, you should be at school. Victoria aren't back yet. And so we have sort of a mixed sort of mode of delivery across Australia and New Zealand at the moment. And so what you're going to be faced with is actually over the next several weeks or months even, is having students that are in class or joining you remotely. And so what we need to do is we need to be able to deliver a really great learning experience for those students and replicate that face-to-face experience with our students in the digital world or our virtual classroom. So we are going to talk about Smart Learning Suite Online today. So there are two versions of the software, the downloaded version, which you can see that I'm in at the moment, and the cloud-based version. So the process of doing that is we're actually going to explore different platforms to source mathematical content that you can use in SLSO. We're going to walk through how to add the content to SLSO accounts and then either edit it or just deliver it as is. The payoff will hopefully be that you'll gain access to a multitude of amazing mathematical resources to use for both face-to-face and remote or blended lesson delivery. So before we start, it'd be really great for you to all join me today. So we've got 3-step on how you're going to join me. Your students might join you slightly different, and we will go through that. But today I'm going to get you to join me as a guest. So if you could go, step 1 would be to go to Hello Smart. So open up a new browser or jump on your phone, doesn't really matter, and open up an internet browser and type in hellosmart.com. The second step would be that it's going to take you to a welcome students page, and it'll have 2 buttons. It'll either have a sign in button or it'll have join me as a guest or join as a guest. So you're going to join as a guest today. And then the third step would be to enter my class ID. Now, if you do need this, please just flag with Kendall. She'll pop it in a message to you. So if you don't get it the first time, don't stress. Kendall's got it and she's got your back. So just let Kendall know that you haven't got it, and she'll send it through. But my class ID, I'm just about to bring it up for you, is 95056, I believe. There you go. What a great memory. 95056. That's my class ID. And you can see in this activity, it'll tell you again how to join, hellosmart.com 95056. And all you need is your first name. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to filter in and join me to start our activity today. Thanks, Craig. First one in. Well done. Well done, Trudy. Kenny's in. Wonderful. I hope wherever you are, it's a little bit warmer than it is down here in Victoria. We'll just give everyone a few more minutes to filter in. But while they're filtering in, what I'm actually going to do is I'd love to know what year level you teach and maybe what topic are you looking at the moment in your class, so we can really tailor what we're looking at today to what you're doing. So I'm going to start this activity, and what's going to happen is that you're going to get a dialog box on your screen, and it's going to, once you click into that dialog box, a little text, the keyboard will pop up. And you can type in your answer. So what year level do you teach? So once you've typed that in, you can select which category it goes into, and then it'll pop up on my screen here. Oh, hi, Eleonora. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So we'll just wait for a few answers. If you're not in a classroom at the moment, that's fine. If you do have a particular topic that you're looking at or something that you're hoping to learn from today, let me know. So just what year level do you teach and what topic are you looking at today with your, well, at the moment with your students? Is that coming up on your screen okay, Kendall?
Yes.
There we go. Year 7 from Trudy, wonderful. Might be just my internet being a little bit slower. Senior secondary in New Zealand. It's cold there. It's bloody cold there. It's bloody cold here too, Craig. Wonderful. Statistics, Trudy. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got a lot of senior teachers on today, which is great. I'm a primary school teacher, but that's fine. We can swing it with year 7s and primary. Wonderful. Very good. All right, so we've got a little mix. I'm going to let that roll through. So if you want to send up any other ideas. Oh, year 6, fantastic. So we've got 2 primary, 2 secondary, and a few others. Okay, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through exactly where to find resources for both senior college and primary. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get, oops, sorry, I missed someone down the bottom there. There we go. Here we go. Wonderful, Dorothy. Thank you. Year 2, Mohammed, primary, casual. Fantastic. Networks and second class looking at geometric transformations. Wow, that's amazing. All right, so we will have a look at some of those resources. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to look at SLSO. What is SLSO? Smart Learning Suite Online. And then we're going to look at several platforms where you can find resources, or maybe you've got resources already that you can use in a more effective way. So the first one we're going to look at is directly from Smart Exchange. So Smart Exchange is a website that, Smart built several years ago, that is a place or a repository, a central repository for educational resources that other educators have created. And so what they've done is they've had a massive overhaul in the last 12 months and have really cleaned out all of the old content and really revamped it and created some really high quality, great content for educators to use straight away in their classes, which is fantastic. And you can do two different things with Smart Exchange. You can either download the content to your desktop and actually edit it yourself, or you can push it straight into your SLSO library and edit it or use it directly from there. So we're going to go through Smart Exchange today. The other platforms that we're going to go through, we're going to have a look at, obviously are our teacher resources that have been built specifically for SLSO and blended learning or distance learning, distance learning or blended lesson delivery. And so we're going to look at the teacher resources and the parent resources as well. So you can push these out to your parents and they can use them at home to complement whatever's happening at school, or you can use them for homework, which is fantastic. Definitely going to look at some of the socials where you can find out other resources. So I work for Smart and I have to follow the Smart Technologies Instagram account because they preview all new resources and all new lessons and educators so that I can discover new content, which is fantastic. You can actually create directly within SLSO, which is a wonderful new feature, and it's getting bigger and bigger and better as the days go on. So new features are being added, the power of that and the functionality of that is getting increasingly better. And then finally, uploading your own current resources and utilizing those. So if you've got PDFs, if you've got PowerPoints, if you've got Google Slides, you can upload them into SLSO and you can have your students interact with your content in ways that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So we're going to look at those 4 areas. And if you do have any questions, please feel free, jump in at any time and ask a question. So Smart Learning Suite Online is our online cloud-based software. The way that you get to Smart Learning Suite Online is in a browser, you type suite.smarttech.com. Now, that will take you to a sign-in page. Mine's already signed in, so it's going to take me directly to a sign-in page. So it's suite.smarttech.com. And what it'll do is it'll actually ask you to sign in. Now, you can sign in with a Google account or a Microsoft account. If you're not sure, try one or the other. If it doesn't have, if it doesn't work in one, try the other one because they are one or the other. And then what this does is it actually links with your downloaded software as well. So you'll notice that this class ID 95056 is exactly the same as the class ID you use to connect with my Shout It Out in my desktop version. So they are linked together, that one account, and it allows you to get all of the content here. Okay, and sorry, I missed this one down here, assisting students with a disability. Beautiful. And who is Nolene? Thank you, Nolene. Okay. So in my Smart Learning Suite Online, I call it my class library. You can see that this is where I keep all of my lesson content. And so these are all my lessons that I can run with my students. I can go in, I can edit them, or I can just run them as is. And I've got them from several different places, predominantly Smart Exchange, because I find Smart Exchange really, really useful, and that's my first port of call. But in Smart Learning Suite Online, before we go any further, I thought I'd give you a quick overview, is that when you join my class, it would have said Beck Woolnough. You can actually rename the class to whatever class ID you want. So you can call it Mr. Smith's class, or so on and so forth, whatever the students know you as. You can reset your class ID if it's too long and you don't think your students will be able to remember that one. The best part is they only ever have to type it in once, and on that device, that will remember your class every time. So every time they go to hellosmart.com, it will actually remember Beck Woolnough on your device now. And then you can obviously pop a picture up here in your banner. If you're not sure about Smart Learning Suite and you do want to understand it a little bit better or understand the capabilities of it a bit better, definitely explore the training option. The training option has step-by-step guides on how to get started right through to creating games and gamification and assessments within Smart Learning Suite Online. And that's built into your PDFs, your PowerPoints, your Google Slides, your notebooks that you currently have, or just on the fly, you just want to do an assessment on the fly. It will teach you how to create an assessment, how to create an individual activity, and how to create a collaborative group work activity. This is how you launch a lesson and get your students into your digital class, and then obviously how to create handouts and workspaces and share your lessons. So it's got how to everything for Smart Learning Suite Online. All right, so let's go and have a look at a little bit of content for now, and then we'll come back, because what I'd like to do is I'd like to go through sort of the share link and how do I share the links with my students, how do I share the links with my teachers if I want my teachers to utilize the same lesson I've spent time building, how do I share that, how do I edit, how do I do certain things. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do all of that once we come back. So the first place, or the first port of call for me always, is Smart Exchange. Now the way you get there is either Exchange, I always go to content.smarttech.com, but you can type Smart Exchange or Google Smart Exchange if you like, and it will bring it up exactly the same. So you can see it'll go content.smarttech.com and it'll actually redirect to exchange.smarttech.com, and it'll bring you here to a Smart Exchange. Now in Smart Exchange is basically got a search engine for you. So you can search the topic that you're after, or you can just search the year levels, or you can just search the subjects. I find it a little bit like picking up my phone and jumping into social media. It's like a little wormhole. You can go from one subject to the next subject and find a whole heap of lessons that you didn't actually find in your first search. So if you're looking for a particular topic, you can type it in here, but obviously you can filter it out as well. We always, on the front page, always have the featured notebooks. So these are lessons that have been uploaded recently and have been deemed really, really fantastic. So you can see if I come into here, I can preview these lessons. I'm not doing anything with it at the moment. I'm just having a look at it. So much like if you've ever been on Teachers Pay Teachers or Teach Starter, or any of those resources page, you can come in and you can preview the actual lessons. Now, when we're previewing these lessons, we get a little view into what the page looks like. This one's got a 3x3 grid with, it's basically a choice board. And then these are some of the activities underneath. So obviously they've got 3 gamified activities, and the rest are activities they have to do on a piece of paper and a pencil that they need to send up. So you can see that these are interactive. So we've got 4 pages down here in the page view, and you can see that you've got 2 that are interactive games. So this little icon here, these blue little icons, indicate that they are interactive games. So this I can tell by this little icon is that it's a rank the order activity. This one I can tell is like a bingo game, so it's cards, it's a flip card. And if I want to have a quick look, I can come in and have a preview of this as well. So I'm just going to close those off because I might be taking up too much of my internet time, my bandwidth, my apologies, and it might be a bit slower. So you can see I've got my hundreds frame where they have to build the numbers, and then obviously the rank the order lesson as well. So that will actually, there you go, and there's you rank the order greatest to least, and we've got 6 10s plus 9 1s, so on and so forth. So they have to figure out which one is the greatest and which one is the least. So I quite like that one, that was fantastic. But it's not quite what I'm looking for. I'm looking for fractions for my students. So what I can do is I can come down here. Sometimes they've got to try something new, and then they've got featured lessons, and then they've got student activities, and then manage or organizational type lessons. Now, these are just previews. I quite like some of these, and you can see that if they're built by the same company or the same group or school, they're often color-coded, or they have their same templates to identify that they are part of that. And I find these NJCTLs, if you're a primary school teacher, these are fantastic. These are addition strategies up to 10. and they have all different types of strategies. And so what you can see is they're actually full lessons. So I can preview this. I can see that it's got a table of contents. I can see that it's got lesson objectives. You know, we've got a brain break activity, so we can decide which one we're going to do. We're going to have the driving question that's going to start our lesson. It has activity instructions for both teachers and students, and it's got a mix of activities, handouts, and group activities. So you can see I can come in here and preview all of these addition strategies. We've got these types of, you've got turnaround facts, you've got written problems, you've got number line strategies, we've got the hundreds chart, so on and so forth. So I can go through this and go, okay, this is great. I want to use this lesson. Or I can go, not quite for me. I'm going to head back and have a look. Now, I will call out, if you are a primary school teacher, these are amazing. Monsters fractions. They are fantastic for all year levels. I've used this with my boys who are in year 1 and year 3, but I know a lot of my students in the senior primary are actually also using these. Now, these are fantastic because they have they're introducing you to these monsters, but they are doing fractions in several different ways. So they're doing fractions as part of as shapes, and then as groups, and so on and so forth. Equal fractions, ordering fractions, so on and so forth. They have embedded YouTubes there. They've got practice activities. They've got a range of different individual and handout activities that all have explanations. So these activities can actually be used as independent lessons that students can access on demand, or I can run this as a live lesson. The other thing it has is actually a link to the brand new Monster versus Fractions game, which SMART are now developing these types of wonderful games where students have to learn or play a leveled game learning fractions, and it's fantastic. If you have a chance, I highly recommend going and having a look. The kids really love this game, and it remembers the levels that they're on and so on and so forth, and it gets increasingly harder. But say this is the lesson I want. I was looking for this one. This is perfect. I might want to add a few games in this one, but other than that, I think it's fantastic. Now I have two options here. I can see, well, I can come down and see the data on it. I can see what subjects, the keywords that they've used, the standards that they've got. I can come over here and you can see, I can save it directly to my SLSO account, or I can download it onto my laptop. So if I press Save to SLSO account, what it's going to do is it's actually going to go to my Smart Learning Suite online account that I was just logged into, and it's actually just going to push it straight over into there. So you can see that as it's loading, what it will do is it'll come in and you'll see it start to import into my library of lessons. And from there, I can access that lesson not only from my desktop, but I can access that lesson from any board that I've logged into, any smart board that I've logged into. I can access it from an iPad and run that lesson from my iPad. I can access it from anywhere, my phone, anywhere, anytime. And so you can see down here, it's importing writing fractions. And you can see I have done that quite a lot. We've used NJCTL. We've been doing lots of addition strategies these last couple of weeks, and we've also been doing quite a lot of fraction work and playing monsters versus fractions. And you can see there now it's uploaded. Now, so I've uploaded this lesson. I can come in and I can edit if I want to, or I can just run it as is. So if I want to leave it and just run that lesson as is, absolutely, all I have to do is press start. But if I want to edit it, if I want to put an activity in, or I want to put a YouTube video in, I can absolutely do this. So this is edit mode. And what I'll do is I'm not going to edit this one. I'm actually going to edit one that I wanted to show you a little bit earlier that our students were doing. But you can see I've got the pages view. I can add content with this blue button down here, and you can see I've got YouTube, new page, shouted out, response, so that's my assessment, gamification activities, so I can add games in there with my own content, and these are fantastic. If you haven't seen these or you haven't joined us the last couple of weeks, activating prior knowledge activities and questioning and reflection activities are fantastic ways to start and end, or top and tail your lessons to gain knowledge, or to have students reflect on their learning and keep evidence of that for reporting. So I can edit this lesson if I wanted to. In this editing phase, I can rename it if I like. I can add any content I want to it. And so I'm going to finish editing there. I know that we've got some senior college student teachers on the line as well. Never fear. I do favour the primary school because that's my bread and butter and where I live. But there are quite a lot of, there's a huge amount of senior college content that has been created as well. And what you can do, so statistics was one of our subjects that we were going through. And I can type the topic in and you can see that they'll have statistics here. So this is a grade 11 to grade 12 activity. I am not going to pretend I know much about senior maths. I did not go well I didn't apply myself very well if you read my reports in mathematics, so I'm not going to pretend I know, but you can see that they have quite a lot of content just for statistics in here. So you can select or search as much content as you want or any topic you like that will actually align. I didn't even put in year 12, it just came up as that. So you can have a look at those content and you can see I've actually added a lot of these units, and all of these are actually from Smart Exchange. So graphing linear equations, solving equations, and if we come in here, it's graph paper, and I can actually deliver this lesson to my students, and my students would then on their device get the graphing paper and the equation activity. This is actually a video of the teacher using Smart Notebook Recorder, teaching the students the teacher directed part of the lesson. And then what they've done is they've gone through and made student activities. So if I actually wanted to make this a student handout where the students work on this equation independently or on their own, all I would do is convert this page to a handout activity. And now my students can work on that as an individual handout, and I would actually get a copy of their work under their name, which is fantastic. Kendall, do I have any questions so far?
No, not yet. Everyone's quiet today.
No, I'm just explaining it so well.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So what you can see is that there's lots and lots of resources in Smart Exchange. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how to edit and then deliver a quick lesson. So the other day I actually saw one of my children, one of their live lessons was multiplication bingo. Now they have obviously a range of abilities in their class. Some of the students were being left behind. They were getting upset. And so what I thought was, wouldn't it be great if you could just take a few games to get them warmed up, because what they did was they went straight into it, and the students had forgotten how to do their multiplication activities. So what we're going to do is I'm going to find a lesson on multiplication for my students to, there we go, there's one there, multiplication facts, fantastic. So I want my students to revise the multiplication facts and have a few fun games before we play bingo. So what I'm going to do is, let's have a little look at these games. So I know that these are interactive games that are, this one's revising 5 times tables, which is fantastic. This is a multiplayer game that they can play with their adult at home, so getting the parents involved, or if they're at school, they can play with their friends at school. And then, okay, we're revising 2 times tables, which is fantastic. So this is my year level for year 2s and 3s. And then, awesome, fantastic. So this is a range of multiplication facts. So I want to use some of these activities, but I want to edit it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it to my Smart Learning Suite online. I could download it and completely edit it, but I don't want to do that. I want to just edit it quickly in Smart Learning Suite Online. Maybe I'm on my iPad, maybe I'm on my phone, I just want to quickly edit a few things. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to edit this to be a full lesson. Instead of just a bingo game, I'm going to edit this to be a full lesson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for it to pop into my my Smart Learning Suite Online account, and you can see it's downloading there. It's saying importing, and it's processing. It doesn't take too long, and there we go, it's up. So I'm not going to use it as is, I'm going to edit it. So I'm going to come into the edit mode. And I'm going to get rid of that title, or maybe I'll leave it. I can see a few games. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to add a YouTube video. Now, YouTube is a huge one because we need to still respect, we still need to adhere and ensure that we are doing our due diligence and keeping our students safe. We can't do that if we're sending them to YouTube and watching YouTube videos. So what we need to do is we need a safe way for our students to experience or be exposed to the content that we want them to be exposed to on YouTube. Now, as a teacher, I go to great lengths to protect my students. I ensure that I've got the YouTube that I want set up ready. I've ensured that I've covered up the other YouTubes or made it full screen, so I'm not showing the list of YouTubes that are in the side panel. I am also standing at the ready to cross off all of the ads, that ticker tape ads that come over the top that I cannot control. I also can't control the ad that comes at the start, and I know that a lot of you will probably do the same as me, is just sitting there waiting for that skip the ad. Now, I can't control that in an online environment. There's no way I can do that. So YouTube has been a feature that a lot of teachers haven't been able to utilize, and it's a really effective teaching tool. So that's a real shame. So what you can actually do, and I did that as I was talking, so I might just go back, is I can just choose where I want it to go. I'm going to press the blue button down here, the blue plus button, press YouTube. I'm going to add multiplication for kids. It's searching YouTube now. So what it's doing is it's searching a white hat search. So it's all inappropriate content stripped away, and only white hat content is allowed up. So I actually know which one I want. I'm going to go with this one. So this is multiplication for kids. It's just a little song that revises all of the multiplications. I can preview it if I want. So you can see that my little cursor here goes to a hand when I hover over the red YouTube button. I can play that and it will actually preview the YouTube and play it all the way through to double check that that's the one I want. But I do know that that's the one I want, so I'm going to take that one there. And what you'll notice is it's taken up the full screen. When I do this activity with you, and I will do this with you, you'll notice a couple of things. You'll notice that it won't play the ad at the beginning. It will not play the ticker tape ads over the top. And the best thing is, well, they're pretty good, those two things, but also they don't have to go anywhere else to watch this YouTube. It's actually played inside of your workflow, which is fantastic. So my idea is we're going to watch the YouTube and sing the song and have a great time. Then my students are going to play a couple of games that help them revise their multiplication facts. Now I want to do bingo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the blue plus button, add a new page, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bingo. I'm going to call it bingo. There we go. We don't need a description. Delete. And then I'm going to add a bingo table. Bingo 3x3 template. And let's see. So this is a Bing search. And it's also white hat search as well. So no inappropriate content here. I did do that. Great. There's one. So there's a bingo table. I can tell you from experience, that is the hardest thing for my children to do, is to draw the bingo table quick enough to be ready for bingo. So what I'm going to do for my students is I'm actually just going to duplicate it so they don't have to draw it. And I'm going to put 3 games on here. Wonderful. Now, to be even more exciting, hot tip, lock your things that are on the page so that they don't move around when the students are playing with them. Always lock them. So all you've got to do is click on it, click the blue button and press lock. The other features that you've got in there, obviously lock, duplicate, infinite cloner, which is fantastic when you're doing mathematics and groupings and fractions and so on and so forth. And then obviously delete. Now more features are coming in this editing feature. So keep your eye on this because it's really exciting what's coming up. Now, I want to be able to do bingo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the games. So I'm going to press the blue plus button, press game-based activities, and then I'm going to come to flip out. Now, with flip out, all I have to do is do the multiplication and then the answer on the other side. Now, maybe we're doing 2 times tables, 5 times tables, and 10 times tables. So let's go 2 times 4. I'll do 5 of these so you can see them. 2 times 6, 2 times 8, let's go 5 times 7. So you just put your content in. There we go. And then I'm just going to add the answers. So I can see it says facing up or facing down. So on this, think of flip cards. So what's facing up on the card and what's facing down? Because what I want to do is be able to choose that card and then for my students to figure out the multiplication and then see if they've got it on their bingo card. So I'm going to pop the answers in here. It's going to be a little bit more of a fun way to do it. 16. Shouldn't talk while I'm trying to do math in my head. And then, oops, 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press next. I can switch them if I've written the columns in the wrong way. I'm going to press next. You can add pictures in there as well instead of text. I'm going to choose a theme. If you're a high school theme, you might want to go a little bit more simpler. I'm going to go monsters, and then that's it. That's my bingo game. I'm going to change the title so I know what it is. Bingo, and then you can see I've got my bingo template and now my bingo's set up. If I wanted to make this a full lesson, I could do a response. Maybe I could do a review of all of the mathematical multiplications. I could do a question and reflecting. So I could do a three facts, 2 questions, 1 opinion, or maybe I could just talk about how do they feel about the topic? How do they feel about multiplication? How do they feel about statistics? How do they feel about, what was the other one, Craig? Geometric transformations. How were they feeling about that? And that way you can gauge and measure your students' social and emotional well-being in relation to that particular topic, which is also a really great way for you to do a check-in with your students. Those that maybe did really well but hated it, there may be something going on. Maybe they didn't understand. Maybe they really struggled. Those that really hated it and struggled, maybe there's a reason. Maybe they need a little bit more explanation. Maybe they need a little bit more support in getting that done. So check-in at the end of this lesson is always a really great way to do it. And the quickest way you can do it is just choose one of these reflection and answering activities. And what it does, how do you feel about the topic? And it adds a question there for me. So now I've taken a really quick lesson from Smart Exchange, which is here. I've added it to my Smart Learning Suite online. I've done about 5 minutes of editing and turned it into a full-blown lesson that my students are going to be really engaged in, that are going to be, they can do the games independently or in small groups. And then we're going to play a whole class activity, and then I'm going to do an individual check-in at the end. So I have, within about 5 minutes, turned that into a full-blown game. So lesson, my apologies. And so what we can do is I can come in, and if you have been in my lesson already in your browser and you've joined me, I can see I've got 3 students, Dorothy, Kenny, and Megan. Thanks so much for sticking with me. And then obviously if you re-engage with your browser page, it'll actually pop your name up as a student joining. What you can do is you can come through and work through this lesson with me. I've popped it on the YouTube page. I'm not going to play it for you here, but you can play it yourself on your own device and see that it actually won't play the ads beforehand. It will not play the ticker tape ads over the top, and it will not play the YouTube underneath. Really fantastic way of protecting our students, but also utilizing this fantastic teaching tool. And I can see all my students filtering in right now. So you can have a video on statistics or geometric transformations that explain it. Or if you're one of those teachers that film yourself with the teacher directed part of the lesson and you're delivering this as an on-demand lesson that students can access after class, you can have your YouTube video up there with your explanation of how to do this lesson, and then the students can work through it in their own pace. By own pace, I mean I can come off teacher and pop it on student. So now you'll get a message on your device that says you can go through any lesson you like, any page in this lesson that you like. So you can work your way through all of these games, have a great time reviewing multiplication, so on and so forth. I can then give you maybe 10, 15 minutes to do that, and then it's time to play bingo. So what I would do here is on the fly, I might turn this into a handout. And so what you'll see on your screen is that it will come up as start. And when you press start, your name will actually pop up. That means that you have done the equivalent of writing your name on a PDF. And so what that means is that you get an individual activity that, oh, I'm still on student mode. So you're all out playing games at the moment, and I haven't got any of you here on this page. So I've just turned it to teacher page, which has brought you all back to this activity. So all you have to do is press start on your screen, and your names will pop up on my screen to say this student's ready. Well done, Craig. First again, Craig, you are amazing. Well done. Kenny's in there, awesome. And so what you can see is you'll have your bingo screens. What I will say is I'm going to pop into Craig's. What I will say is, in my view, you can see that I've got the black sidebar here. You'll have 3 dots, which is called an overflow button if you're on an iPad or an iPhone or a small handheld device. The reason being it's space saving. All you have to do is click the 3 dots and the tools will appear. And all I would get my students to do would be to pick up a pen and write the answers for their bingos in each one. Now I'm writing with a mouse. So obviously you can see I'm not doing very well, but I could tell them what multiplications we're looking at today, so they could look at the, they could write the answers that they think are going to be in my bingo game. And so when we're all ready, what I would do is I would turn it to student mode so my students can stay on this page, and I would turn to bingo as the teacher. So my students have got their bingo cards up in front of them, and I can choose 2 times 6. And so they would cross off 12 if they had it, and then I would give them time to do that, and then we would reveal the answer, and the answer is 12. And so when someone had bingo, we would pop our answers up here, and we could review which ones we've done, and then I can actually come back to my students and then check which students had bingo and whether they were right or wrong, and so on and so forth. It's a little bit more engaging, and I can see that Kenny and Trudy have all pressed done. They've got bingo. Well done, Trudy. And I can come in and check Trudy's answers to see if she's got bingo. The same if I'm doing senior college lessons. So if I had an activity or a problem that I wanted them to solve, if I had grid paper, for example, like graphing linear equations, and I wanted to start this lesson and go through this lesson. Again, I'm not a content expert here in graphing linear equations, but if I wanted to use this with my students and have my students have access to the graphing paper or the linear, I know that they can do it in, just waiting for it to load. My internet's taking a little bit longer than expected, but you can see that you can have your students work independently or in groups. Now, if you're using Zoom and you've got a group of students that are in front of you and a group of students that are joining you online, then you can actually group them and let them have breakout groups and work on an activity together. So if I come in here and let's have a look at some of these pages, so you can see they've got a YouTube video on linear equations. You can see that we've got a couple of handouts here. So this one has to be a handout. So this teacher's actually put instructions in here for me. So what I can do is I can turn that into an individual handout, and now all my students can interact with that activity and start doing graphing those linear equations. So you can see Craig's in there now, and he can start drawing or using the pen. I believe also if I wanted to, I could bring up the teacher handout that I could use my teacher directed lesson on. So I could talk about, I want you to graph y equals minus x plus 1, and my students might use the dots to graph where y 2x minus 2x plus 1, don't judge me, I have no idea. And then you can move the arrow to make it show where the graph is. I don't know, how close did I get, Craig? Let's see, have you done it? Oh, I did not get very close at all. So what you can do is, I tried. And so what you can do is you can have your students work on these activities. So these are just small, quick snippet examples for you to have your students do this. In your context, in your classroom, you can go as wild and as crazy with the activities as you want. Now, I can have a look in here and you can see that they've got a couple more YouTubes. Maybe they've changed or added more context to it. Then they've popped a game in. Now, for my senior teachers, let me tell you, we have an amazing high school teacher over, a year 12 actually, teacher over in New Zealand. called Vicky Bendel. She's amazing, and she uses gamification in her classroom with her Year 12s, and they love it. And some of her games are incredible. So if you're not sure or think that maybe these games are a little bit young for your students, guess again, they love it. That's what they're doing on the weekend. They want to be able to use gamification. If you want to play this game, feel free, go for it. So they've obviously got to match the graph to the actual equation. They love this, and it's wonderful to hear them play these games, and they can play it independently on their own device, or they can actually play it in pairs and peer tutor, which is exactly what they want. And if you are in front of a class, and if you are teaching students who are joining you virtually as well, it is a wonderful way to have students interact with each other and build that community by allowing them to have little breakout sessions and have them in small groups to work out these mathematical equations. The best part about this is, and I hope that some of you got a go at that, is that I can run these lessons live, or I can run these lessons on demand. So if you're in SLSO and you've gotten lessons from Smart Exchange, or you're like me and I'm one of those crazy people that like to build my own games and have them, this is a choice board and they have to go to different pages to go and do. This is one I'm building at the moment for my class. We're revising additions, we're revising addition strategies. And so what I want to do is put each addition strategy there and several games for them to play, and they get certain points, and then they get to use their point cards on there. So I build in Notebook, but what I've done is you can see that not all of these pages look the same. This one looks like the NJTC lesson. This one is one I built myself. And so what I usually do is I go to Smart Exchange, and I actually download 6 or 7 notebooks that I like that's in the topic. So I wrote addition strategies, and I downloaded 4 or 5 addition strategy notebooks that I thought amazing, they're great, or ones that I've already taught and want to use those activities in the one activity to review all of the strategies we've done the last 2 weeks. And so all I do is I drag and drop pages into here, into one notebook, and then I just use a little tic-tac-toe board, and then I link the page. For those of you who are not sure how to link a page, all you do, so I've made that one picture, all you do is right click, press link, and then page in this file, and then you just choose which page you want it to link to. So if I choose that page and press object so that it's not in the corner, it's actually on the picture, I'm going to press OK. So now when my students press this page or this button, it's going to take them to the page that I wanted to direct them. And I always put a little home button up the top as well. So this lesson is actually built to be used in SLSO as a student self-paced lesson. So I download several lessons, I put them together in the one lesson, I build the structure, and then I save it, and all I do is drag and drop into my Smart Learning Suite online, and then it's sitting there ready to go for my students. So you can edit in SLSO, or you can download and edit on your device. So I've got 10 minutes left, and I did want to show you a few other things. We spent a lot of time in Smart Exchange, but there are other places to go to. So you can go to our distance learning blog. It actually has quite a lot of resources, both for teachers and for parents. So this is, if you just want to put smarttech.com distance learning, we will put these links, all of these links, on our Smart ANZ Facebook page as well. So along with my notebook that has these links in it. But you can see you can go to secondary resources, years 3 to 5 resources, years K to 2 resources. So if I wanted to go to our secondary resources and come in here, I can see that I've got ready-made student activities for parents, and then I've also got teacher resources ready to adapt and assign. So I can come in here, and content is being added to this every single day. So this is content specifically designed for Smart Learning Suite Online for teachers to edit and assign. So you can see we've got lots of different graphic organizers that you can utilize. You can see the topics are broken up. You can see that there are notebook files there that you can go into and find, and it's exactly the same way as Smart Exchange. It'll actually take you to Smart Exchange. And you can see here, this is all of the lessons that they have built for Smart Exchange that you can take, and obviously slope sorts, solving equations, patterns, parts of quadratic, I'd say angles, logs and exponentials. So you can see, and there's pages upon pages. So if you want to go and search, that's fantastic. The primary one is slightly different. So if you go to the primary age section, and I'll show you this very quickly, the 3 to 5 resources, let's have a look at. K to 2 are exactly the same as the 3, not exactly the same. The setup is the same. The resources are very different. So if you come in here to the teacher resources, I can come in here and have a look. And then what you can see is you've got creative activities, which are wonderful. You've got mindful activities, reading and writing. So they're set out in subjects. So I've got in math, so you can see here's the monsters versus fractions game. I'm not going to bring it up for you, but I highly recommend if you are a primary school teacher, this is a fantastic way for our students to practice and learn fractions. But I've got dice games and card games, and I've also got playing maths card games, a maths choice board, so on and so forth. But if this is the one that I thought, oh, this looks interesting, I'm going to utilize this one, I can click on that and it'll take me to the Smart Exchange. And again, all I have to do is I have to add it to my SLSO account, or I can download. In this actually, my apologies, in this one it is just save to SLSO because you've got the teacher link, and you can again preview all of these activities. This little device we haven't chatted about, that means that it is a handout activity or it is a small group activity, so they need devices to be able to interact. This means it's an interactive activity, but if you've got students in class, they can play it on the board. They don't need a device. So you've got plenty of ways to cater for all of your students face-to-face and or distance learning. Now, I did quickly mention the teacher sharing link. If you have, say, for instance, built a lesson that you are really happy with and you want to share it, there we go. I'm really happy with my multiplication facts. I've got 3 teachers in my team that I want to do. I want to share this resource to all of my teachers. So all I would do is share link, get teacher share link, and then all I would do is copy that and email it to my teachers. And that will send them to a Smart Exchange page like the one you just saw, like this one. It'll have a preview of the lesson that you've created, and all they have to do is click Save to SLSO Online, and it'll save directly into their lesson or their library. If you want your students to access it after class, or if you are using the one way for your students to access your content, for example, Seesaw, Google Classroom, Learning Management System, OneNote, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. All you need to do, if you want your students to access your lesson, they can either join me the way you joined me today, go to hellosmart.com and type in your unique code, or I have found more effectively if you share the link. Now, the student access link is the second one, get student access link. That way, the students can not only access it while you're in class, but they can access it after class on demand. So they can either review, or if they don't get all the way through the activities, or you want to do teacher directed for a little bit and then you want them to finish it for next week before they come back to you if you're in senior school, that you want them to finish those lessons as homework, they have access to this lesson outside of class hours, outside of you being in that lesson. So all you do is copy this and then paste it into your Seesaw, your Google Classroom, or your OneNote as a link, and the students just access it that way, or your learning management system, so you can embed it into your learning management system as well. A few other places before I go, definitely have a look at our Instagram for previews of lessons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop in here because I've linked them all in here so that you can, if you wanted this, you can have all of the links so you don't have to go searching, but you can come in here and they actually preview all of the lessons that they've got. And some of them are, well, most of them are fantastic, and they're great because you go, oh, I didn't know that that game could do that. And then you can come into their link tree and they'll have the specific lessons there. So one that I really liked that I saw the other day was the multiplication choice board, because that's what we were doing. And it's just an on-demand lesson. So it's just a choice board that has 9 activities that the students can work through. I thought, that's brilliant. I don't have to do anything. I just added it to my SLSO account, and that was my student's lesson on multiplication that day. And so you can see all of these amazing lessons that they can do, or activities that they can do, games as well as handouts. And all they did was they clicked the activity that they wanted to do. And so I added it to my SLSO account via the Instagram link, which was wonderful. And the last thing that I'll show you before I throw to questions is the parent resources. So I showed you the teacher ready resources. So this is in our distance learning resources. Again, these links will be in our Facebook pages, but they are also in my notebook presentation page here. So that's our teacher link resources. This is our parents resources here. So the little game console with the hat is the parents, and the pencil is our teachers. And so this is what it looks like. And if you want to come down to parent resources, this is the parent dashboard. So this has been my saving grace. It's fantastic, and I know a lot of teachers are actually using it to complement their distance learning or their homework as well. So what they can do is they can come into, if their child is in year 3 and 5, and again, the monster game is there. It's amazing. But you've got lots of lessons that they can access at home, no dramas. So the other day I did a multiplication review with my kids, and they just choose a lesson each day that they can do, prefixes and suffixes, all of these fantastic lessons that really complement home learning programs and build up that homeschool partnership, which is fantastic. So having these really great, deep and meaningful educational resources for our parents to have access to. And don't forget, there is a senior school resources as well. You've got grades 6 to 12 as well. So they are some great places to go to. Don't forget, you've got your Teachers Pay Teachers that you can go to. If you want notebooks, you can type in Smart Notebooks. There are heaps of them there. I recommend, if you're a primary school, this one. I think it's $25, and it has 195 slides. They are fantastic. If you're a casual teacher, that is brilliant, because you can pull out any pages that actually relate to what the students are doing in class. And if you're a teacher and you just want a quick activity or a quick lesson, or a really great template to use as a base or a jumping off point for your lesson, these templates are fantastic to use. I use them all the time, and I keep them and store them in my gallery here, so my content here, and you can see that I've got my mathematics one, and I've got them all sorted into different tiles and pages. So if I come in here, number notebook pages, they've just got full-blown pages that you can utilize, like this one, where my students can then build the numbers with the MAB blocks and so on and so forth, and move the cursor around. So they're really great lessons that you can use, no pre-planning, no building beforehand, and they're wonderful. Don't forget, and we didn't go into it, but there are webinars on it that you can use PDFs and PowerPoints. If you've already got a huge amount of content in PDFs and PowerPoints, all you have to do is upload to your Smart Learning Suite online account up to here, and then edit it as is. So if you wanted to have a quick squiz, or I've got a PDF here, and this is the last thing I'll show you, all you need to do is find the PDF, and I did have one. Number of the day, there we go, and all you do, PDF, drag and drop. And it's exactly the same editing process as I did with the lesson from Smart Exchange. It's no different. So it just uploads, and you can deliver it or add games into it. You can turn pages into handouts or collaborative workspaces, and it works exactly the same. So there's a PDF, really super simple. I can come in and edit it and add YouTube videos and activities to it, just as I did with the other lesson from Smart Learning Suite. So there you go. You can see I can turn that into a handout. Fantastic. I can add all of my gamification elements in my YouTube pages. So I can do that with PDF, with PowerPoint, and with Google Slides. So that brings me to the end. I do apologize that we rushed it sort of there at the end, but Smart Exchange is my first port of call to get any content and ideas. Definitely the distance learning blog, and obviously Teachers Pay Teachers, or the better yet, use your content that you've already got and just enhance the delivery of it. Make life easier for yourself. You're collecting all of the data in one place, all of the work samples in one place. Your students are able to access it anytime, anywhere, from any device. And you can actually add gamification. You can add assessment. You can add collaboration and independent handouts into your PDFs, your PowerPoints, and your Google Slides, which are often renowned for being pretty static and passive learning. You can really turn it into some active learning activities, which is fantastic. So without further ado, I am going to throw to Kendall for some questions if anyone has any. But if you if you're not sticking around, there will be a survey at the end. It'd be awesome to hear your thoughts and your feedback on this. We do take feedback quite seriously and try to input it into our sessions next week. So any questions, Kendall?
No questions. A few came through for me, which I've answered. They're just technical questions, but none for directed at you at the moment. So if anyone has any questions at all, please type it into the question panel, or you can raise your hand to come off mute.
Wonderful. Just while we're waiting and just letting any questions sort of filter through, I will note that we just looked at Smart Learning Suite online today. We did not look at any of the amazing smart math tool features that you have in the desktop version that are coming to Smart Learning Suite online. Things like the equation editor or the maths, the GeoGebra, or the maths tools that you can absolutely access to the desktop version. So today was focused on Smart Learning Suite online, and those features are on their way, which is fantastic. But if you do have any questions about Smart Learning Suite online, or where to find resources, or if you'd like some resources, let us know. And if there's no further questions, I think we'll end it there.
There was a comment come through from Craig. No questions. Content was very valuable today. Thank you.
No dramas, Craig. Thanks for the feedback. I hope you're in your Ugg boots and cozy up warm somewhere near a fire or a heater over in New Zealand. Enjoy. I'm looking forward to the borders opening and we can come over and explore and share each other's countries.
Trudy's Craig said, red wine has warmed me up. Perfect.
Wonderful. That's a perfect remedy for a cold night. Well done, Craig. I'm not far away from joining you. And there was one from Trudy.
Yeah, Trudy's just had a comment here for you, Beck. Thank you, Beck. Love your work. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks, Trudy. Love your work too. Hopefully we get out to South Australia to see you soon. All right, thanks, team. If that's all, then we really appreciate it. Kendall's going to send through a survey. If you have a minute, that'd be awesome. If not, no dramas at all. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
I think. Sorry. They trickle in.
All good.
Just want to know, this from Dorothy, just want to know if you create in SLSO, will it work on old version smart boards?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So okay, so that's one thing I should have pointed out. I'm not running this on a smart board. I'm running this on my laptop. Smart Learning Suite is designed to be run from anywhere, from any device, at any time. So I run lessons from my iPad. You don't have to run lessons from the smart board from SLSO. It is really effective to have students be able to work on the board and in small groups and at home on their own devices. Wonderful. And the smart board does enhance that activity, and it does have its own features that elevate the in-classroom lesson learning. And I love working off a smart board because I just find it a lot easier. But if you have old smart boards, if you have, other other boards or other technology in your classroom. If you have no boards and you've just got your laptop, you can absolutely run these lessons without anything. You just need an internet-enabled device.
And that looks like it's it. And that was great.
Awesome. All right, team, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your Wednesday.